everyone, Chelsea here from So Simple Home. Today's project, we are going to make this really easy earwormer pattern for the winter. This is a free pattern available on the blog. It comes in infant to adult sizes. This is the 0 to 6 month. I'm just showing you this one because it takes the least amount of fabric, but the process is the same for the small pattern all the way up to the adult size. What you're going to need for this is the pattern. You can get the link in the description so you can get the free pattern. You'll notice that it's not just a straight like rectangle. You could, I guess, if you wanted to make your own and not get the pattern, just do a rectangle. But this actually has kind of a curved shape that actually goes around the ear. So it makes it fit just a little bit better. You're also going to need some fleece material. I just have this kind of scrap bit hanging around my house, so that's what I'm using today. You'll need about 1/4 yard depending on the size. You do have to be able to fold it in half, so for the adult sizes you will need that full 1/4 yard to get enough. For these infant sizes you can probably find some scraps and that will do good. So we're just going to fold our material in half like you see here. And I'm just going to pin my pattern. One side is placed on the fold, so you need 2 of them. So I'm just gonna cut them both out here at the same time. And if you cut well, you'll have a little bit of fleece left over that you can use for the bow if you choose to put a bow on it, or for some other scrappy fleece projects. And fleece is such a great material to sew with because it has a lot of forgiveness. It doesn't hate you so much, and it has a little bit of stretch. It's just a really good material to sew with. Okay, so there's my 2 pieces. 1, 2. Okay, so the first step is I'm going to sew across the top and across the bottom of my ear warmer. So I'm sewing the 2 layers together. And I'm putting my sewing machine on a zigzag stitch. So you'll see here, it's going to be going zigzag back and forth, my needle. And I'm sewing right at the edge at 1/4 inch. And you could pin your material, or if you like clips, you can clip it. Okay, so you can kind of see there that zigzag stitch that I used. And I'm using a zigzag. I'm using a zigzag because fleece has some stretch. And if I use a straight stitch, if I go to put this on my head and I pull it just a little bit, it'll start to snap those stitches, and I don't want those stitches to snap, okay? Also, one thing to note on the pattern, you want the direction of the stretch of the fabric to go horizontally. So it should stretch this way because that's how it's going around your head. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this other side. All right, I've got both sides stitched. And now I'm going to take it and I'm going to turn it right side out. So I'm actually just going to kind of turn my material right side out. It's just like a giant sock. Now this is the 6 month size. This is the 0 to 6 month, the infant size. So it's going to be a little bit trickier to turn than say the adult sizes. They have a little bit more width to them. So we're almost done here. Okay, now it looks kind of wonky. One thing with fleece is you do not want to iron it. it can melt under your iron and it can deform, and you just don't want the mess with it. So I just do what I call a finger press. And you just kind of take the seam that you sewn and you take your fingers and you kind of finger press it to get that shape that you want. You can kind of see the difference between this side and this side. This side's kind of rolling still and this side is much flatter. So it actually works really well. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just kind of finger press it. If you really need to press everything, make sure you just really put your iron on a really low heat setting so it doesn't melt and stick to your iron. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is we are going to fold one end about 1/2 inch in, and again, finger press, right? See, stays in place. Now we're gonna take the other side and tuck it into that folded side. So we're just tucking it inside, just right in there. And then if you want to make sure that everybody stays in place, add a pin or two. Like I said, just really finger press it, and that makes a big difference. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stitch from here across to here. Now we want to make sure that we back stitch at the beginning, so that means we sew forward, backward, then go all the way across and do the same thing at the end. And that way, as we're wearing this and we're stretching it and stuff, it stays in place and the stitches don't come out. So we're just going to put it right into our machine through all these layers, and sometimes that's scary for people because this is really thick, and that's okay. Forward, back stitch, forward, and I'm still doing a zigzag. If you want to do a straight stitch, you could on this part, but I'm just sticking with my zigzag. Okay, clip these threads here. Or if you really wanted to, I guess you could hand sew it too. That would also work. Okay, so there's that side. And there is my headband. And you can see this is the front and this is the part that's towards the back closer to the ears. Okay, so it actually should go around the ears. Now the next step is to top stitch around it so that these seams lay flat. You're going to do the same thing just with the zigzag. You could, if you hate the zigzag, you could find a decorative stitch on your machine and do. I still recommend doing the zigzag. Just because you're going to be stretching this bad boy out and you don't want all these seams to start popping, and then you've got all these strings hanging out all over the place and it'll just look kind of silly. Alright, let's do the other one. Oops. Cut all our threads here. Okay, and there's your headband. So another option for the headband is to add a fun little bow to the side or front, whatever you want to do with it. This is actually really simple to do. You're going to take a rectangle piece of fleece between 6 to 8 inches long and about 3 inches wide, 2.5 perhaps. You're going to fold it in half and you're just going to stitch down the side. again, use that zigzag stitch. Then you'll turn it right side out, like this. And then you're gonna kind of pinch it. I guess you could kind of say you're pleating it. So folding it in half, folded this way, folded this way. So it's kind of a little pinch. And then you can either put it on your machine and stitch it. You can take a piece of fleece and go around the middle and tie a knot right there in the middle. That. And then you can just pull off these extra bits and you've got this little fleece bow. And then you could, obviously it doesn't match here, but you can stitch it however you want. You could put it right on the front, however you want. We'll just pin it in place here. So pin it, and then you can put it through your machine. You could hand stitch it however you want. And then you'd put your cute little headband on your baby. Now, obviously, this is not a normal baby. It's a baby doll. This is my Cabbage Patch doll. But see how cute that is? Or you could put the bow on the side. You could make the bow even bigger if you like really big bows. Whatever you decide. This pattern is super simple. It's really fast. It's a great gift idea for the holidays. Like I said, the pattern comes in sizes 0 all the way up to adult. So you can make the whole family a set. You can make matching team ones, whatever you want to do. Let me know if you have any questions. And don't forget, you can get the link to the free pattern in the description. We'll see you next time.